Souls RNG has a lot of global auras that you can get over the rarity of 1 in 100 million. Some are pretty epic and others kind of suck and are way too rare for what they are. So in this video, I'm going to be ranking every single global aura in Souls RNG that has ever been, from the limiteds that barely anyone has to the auras that everyone probably has. So I have quite a lot of globals at the moment on 2 accounts, because I definitely won't only be using my main account for this, because my alt actually has a bigger variety of globals. A lot of the globals are your opinions, so whatever I say, take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to get offended if I say that aura sucks but you like it. Just keep in your mind that you like it, of course. So right before we get to ranking all 27 globals that have ever been in Souls RNG, I want to ask you guys to please subscribe, as once we reach 20,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away 20 VIP plus game passes to lucky subscribers that comment Cyber Road to 20k in the comment section with their username. And once we reach 20k, I'll give away 20 VIP pluses. I'll go to 20 of these comments, add 20 people on Roblox, and gift you the game pass there. Let's start off with the list right here. All 27 globals right there, from my Impeached, Harvester to Impeached, and basically everything, even Oppression. Let's start off with Abominable. This is Abominable. It is meant to be a 1 in 120 million, but you can get it for a 1 in 40 million while it's snowy and for not too many spins from these spin wheels. And to be honest, if I look at the aura itself, it's a little bit mid. It's basically the player floating above this crazy portal thing. It leaves a big footprint, but the only issue is it barely releases any actual particle effects. It's not the worst that could ever be in the game, but it's a little bit lacking, even though you kind of get it for the rarity of 1 in 40 million. I can't call it anything too insane. I'll call it okay. It's honestly a little bit forgettable, to be honest. Its size a little small, and honestly I'll keep it there. Let's move on to Abyssal Hunter. This I have 8 of. 8 Abyssal Hunters on 1 account, and it's honestly kind of sad. But we basically get this propeller at the back. You have this anchor, you can run really quickly. I'd say it's a bit of an improvement over the last Abyssal Hunter. It's a little bit bigger, more detailed, but Juggernaut basically just gives you a force field. I'm pretty sure all abilities make you take less damage. Destroyer just makes you float. It's a bit useless, but Shifter is the most useful one. Lets you run. And for 1 in 100 million in Rainy and 1 in 400 million outside it, it's pretty good. I'm not going to call it God tier. It's nothing absolutely insane, but it's definitely a W aura because it's very useful, especially if you're trying to collect a lot of Santa tickets when they spawn. So Aegis. This is an aura that I have to get onto the alt account for because I don't have it on my main. I know, cooked. But it's basically a massive laser. Very original, but it's very big. It's literally just Abyssal Hunter 2. Like, I'm not joking. But if you do shoot, it basically launches a massive laser. It does a bit of area damage by launching a laser very far. The character is staying at screens that don't mean anything. This aura is massive and always wins in flex battles. 1 in 825 million though. And this is a lot of people's dream auras, so I'm probably going to call it God tier because it's absolutely massive. If I look on this account, Abyssal Hunter, it makes you look like a noob with 35 million rolls. So Apostolos Vial, our first aura that we don't actually have. So sadly, we do have to go onto the wiki page for this, but this thing is absolutely massive in person. It's basically Apostolos 2. I'd say it's like 1.5 Aegises, maybe. Maybe not that big, but it is that wide. It's absolutely insane. No abilities, which is a little bit sad, but in person, this thing is absolutely insane. For 1 in 800 million, I'm going to have to put it in God tier above Aegis because it's absolutely massive and it's pretty cool for when you could get it, but it is limited, which is kind of sad. I'm not sure if it'll come back, but I kind of wish it will. So let's get on to Apostolos. So this thing is also a pretty big size. It has a nice accentuation. It was a pretty old curated aura. It has some random hidden message over here. My character's doing this nice floating effect. Its cutscene's nice. Yeah, I'm definitely happy that I at one point got this aura at 90 million rolls. It was my best for like 3 million. It's not the worst, to be honest, but it's a nice aura. It's definitely nice. I put it at the bottom of W aura, but we gotta keep the list a little bit mixed. We will definitely change stuff around. Now, Archangel. Surprisingly enough, I actually got it on this account at 35 million rolls. It took a really long time to, but I finally do have it on here. But this is one of the most insane auras. It's the OG Era 5 best global. If you hit X, it does a massive damage, and it drops swords around you when you're not watching. But this aura is absolutely insane. It used to be a little bit, it used to need a rework, but now it's over rework. It's wild to look at for its rarity. It is literally divine. So for that, I'll put it at the very top of W aura. It's nothing absolutely mind-blowing. It's no one's dream aura, so I definitely won't put it into God tier. But now let's get on to Atlas Yuletide. Another aura that I have to switch to the alt account for, but this is basically Atlas but better, and it kind of looks like Overture history because of these. But it is definitely a nice Atlas mutation. It has a lot of detail. For 1 in 500 million, I'm not very sure, especially if you get this breakthrough. It's a little sad, but for something that I can get from a spin wheel, it's really good. And 1 in 170 million, it's definitely a W aura, but definitely not a God tier. I'll put it before Archangel because it's not crazy for 1 in 500 million. So Atlas. Now this is pretty nice. I remember saying that it looked really good all the way in the whitelist auras, but now it's not that crazy. I'm not gonna lie. The bottom kind of blends in with the ground and it doesn't really stand out very much. It's not too bright. The middle is perfect though. The part where it's modeled looks really good, but to be honest, it could do with a little bit more definition here, the bottom here. I'll put it okay, but it's definitely not too nice because it does need some more contrast. So let's go with Bloodlust. Another aura that I have 9 of on this account for some reason. It looks like it's at a bit of a need of a rework. For some reason my aura sound effects are broken here, so the animation's a bit not working, but it actually has an ability, Bloodthirst. This is pretty recent, but it basically makes you slash your surroundings. Not that bad, but at the same time, if you look at auras like Atlas Yuletide and Archangel that I can get for a lot easier, this definitely isn't too special. So for that, I'm going to not put it in forgettable because you do definitely remember this, but it does need a rework. Not calling it bad, just calling that it needs a rework. So Chromatic Genesis. This recently got its music back, works on this account, but it's pretty good. It's nice to have this music back as this ability, a cutscene, and then it just blasts music. Pretty good damage, but this is an aura that leaves a pretty large footprint. Not many people really submit reworks because it's nearly perfect how it is. For not even a full 100 million, it's pretty good, I'd say. Definitely a nice aura to have, just not too many. So I'm going to definitely put it above nice aura. It's nothing too crazy because it is it's literally the entry level global, but definitely good. Now Exotic Void. Now this used to be a 1 in 30 million, so it kind of in a way doesn't feel quite right to have it here, but at the same time it is kind of cool. This is a lag bomb of an aura, especially if you look into this thing. It has a sword, sad that doesn't have an ability, but it leaves a really big footprint. It's literally taller than Genesis, not quite as wide, but it's pretty cool to have, to be honest. I'll put it at the bottom of W aura because it's not that bad as 1 in 300 million, but it still feels a little bit overranked. Actually, I'd put it at the bottom of nice aura for that. So Gargantua. Now, I was stuck with this aura at some point for 15 million rolls as my best, so I'm a little bit mad about how it feels that it's got kind of released into Souls RNG in a kind of janky way. Now, it's definitely cool, a lot of effects, a lot of definition on this galaxy, but top part feels a little bit janky. It doesn't feel like a true black hole, especially when you start rotating the camera and when you start looking in to all of these polygons that you can see. You can see that if you look at it straight ahead, it's not very black hole-like. This isn't an aura that's too bad, but it's at the bottom of okay. It's not too terrible, but it definitely at some point will need a rework. Now, Harvester. Also don't have this aura, but it's pretty epic. It's basically lanterns going around a big sphere. It's really big. I'd say it's Aegis sized, but it has a pretty cool effect. You could only get this in graveyard on Halloween, so I don't have this, can't say too much. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of God tier because it's really insane to have. It's not too crazy, and especially as it is a limited, you can't really get it anymore. It can't really rank it anymore. Impeached. Another aura I couldn't really get. Pretty sad, but it is basically just Impeached. But the effects basically got completely replaced with circles. It drops a giant peach onto the ground and its sword ability, but pretty cool. It used to be the rarest aura in the game, but now kind of still rare. At the same time, it feels a little bit lazy. I'll put it in the middle of okay, but to be honest, it's nothing too special. So now the real Impeached. Now I definitely do have beef with this aura. It's an aura that I could have gotten oppression, but at the moment it feels a little bit old. It was the first global to be added ever into Souls RNG, and to be honest, because of that, it hasn't aged very well. It has a lot of effects, I can definitely say that, but it feels like with every era, it's gotten more and more mid. Every era. Now nobody cares about it too much. I'd say now we can put it into rework now. A bit higher than Bloodlust, but you can tell that this hasn't aged very well. So now Luminosity. Now sadly, this is another aura that we're going to have to look at the wiki again for because I don't have it. A bit too cooked. But this aura kind of sucks. Its abilities are definitely nice. I mean, a bit annoying, but the issue with this is that it's tiny. If you made Archangel a bit wider and slightly shorter, you would get Luminosity, and of course turn it blue. So that's kind of mid. A 1 in 250 million aura pretty much, but it just has a lot of abilities. This doesn't need too much explanation. There's only one place where this thing could go into, guys. I know we voted for us with lots of abilities as 1 billion pluses, but it has to go here. So Matrix Overdrive. This aura. So it's pretty big. When it got added, it definitely looked nice. I'd say to this day, it looks nice. It kind of sucks to have just my best aura at 35 million rolls, but definitely is pretty good. It's basically just glitch, but if they turned it red and made it much larger and combined it with Matrix, definitely cool. Not the craziest, but at the same time, it's definitely at the bottom of W aura. So Matrix Reality. This is new, and you can tell it's new because 100 million more rarity, and you get an aura that's so much bigger that you go to it and Overdrive nearly disappears. Now this aura is pretty crazy. It has a lot of color change. It's absolutely just humongous. It even has text here that you can read. This aura is definitely an aura, and honestly, because it's new, because it's massive, and everyone's gonna probably look at you when you have this thing because not many people have it yet. So I might even put it above Harvester just because it's a little bit wider and it definitely has a slightly bigger presence, even though Harvester is taller. So now Nightmare Sky, another Halloween aura I couldn't get. This is, I'd say, maybe 1.5 wingspan of Archangel in width and height. It's pretty big, I'm not joking. For 1 in 190 million in Pumpkin Moon, it is pretty good. It's lunar full moon, but if they fed something that it wasn't meant to eat and it made it grow massive. Has a lot of effects, it's pretty new. I'll put it, I'd say, over here, slightly above Atlas Yuletide, because its displayed isn't as high. So, Oppression. Another aura that I can't really show for, but I'd definitely say it's about the width of a Matrix Overdrive. Slightly taller, definitely. It's the rarest aura in the game, and to be honest, it's a little bit overrated, to be honest. If you have auras like Aegis, which are slightly larger, Apostolos Vial even, some people even argue that Apostolos Vial is rarer than this. And because of all the drama of glitch biome hunting and everything, it just isn't very worth it. I'll definitely get it in the future. Might do an updated aura tier list when I actually have all the global auras. But I'm not joking. It is a W aura, but it's not that crazy as all the other auras for how painful it is to get. I expect it to be at least a quarter of the spawn. It definitely needs a change. Overture history. This used to kind of suck when it didn't have its rework, but now it's actually nearly taller than Matrix Overdrive. It's a little bit compact, of course, but it's pretty good. It has its time stop ability that freezes time literally. It's pretty good for trolling as well, but nothing too crazy, but it's definitely pretty nice for its rarity. Let's put it into, I'd say, below Apostolos because that's nice, but it's a nice aura. Now Overture. Weirdly enough, Overture isn't that much of a downgrade. The only thing you lose is a little bit of the ability time and the 2 pillars and the colors, but it's mostly the same actually. So to be honest, this could just go slightly below history because it feels a little bit less intimidating and it's a little bit less effective. So Ruins. Now, you could say that Ruins is pretty good. It's really big, but there is one big issue with the aura, and that's the color grading. This aura blends into the background quite a bit. Even if I change the biome to, I don't know, glitch biome, it still kind of blends in with its surroundings. You can still see through the back of it. It's not too crazy, And to be honest, it could do with a rework one day. I'd say I'll put it into, just because it's big, I'll put it above Abominable and say that's a little bit forgettable. So now Shard Surfer. The one limited global I have that actually got a rework recently and made it really, really big. This is truly an aura. And to be honest, it's pretty nice that I got this during the summer event, still have it, and I get rewarded with a nice rework, which got added pretty quickly into the game, by the way. I'm going to not put this into God tier or W aura, it's a little bit too overkill for that, but I'll put it above Genesis, definitely. So Sovereign. So Sovereign is an OG. For about 2 eras, this was the best aura in the game. It's definitely been nerfed once, a little bit at the top, but it's pretty iconic, honestly. Literally become the king of souls RNG with actually having it on. It would be nice for a lot of these auras to have abilities, but to be honest, it's an OG. To be honest, can't put it too high, but definitely you'll get some eyes of when you equip it. It's kind of what used to define something that's over 1 in 500 million. So because of its kind of OG status, I'll put it at the bottom of W aura. So Starscourge Radiant. This is another one of those weird auras because you can get it for 1 in 10 million in Starfall. It's 1 in 100 million otherwise. Has a ability of Starburst where you could just shoot a Starburst, I think. And this aura does not color match well. If I change the biome to glitch again, definitely looks a bit better. But to be honest, it's a little bit bad because it definitely matches way too much around surroundings. It kind of suffers a ruins problem. It's a bit forgettable, even slightly below Abominable. So finally, Symphony. So this aura is kind of a cheap version of Archangel. While it definitely looks pretty cool, you can kind of tell it got added in pretty sure era 8. I can't really remember because Symphony is honestly not very memorable. It definitely does look nice, but I'll put it, I'd say, slightly below Ruins as forgettable because it's not too crazy. And there we go. That's the entire video. We finally ranked every single global in the entire game. I'd say that everything is probably in its right place. Nightmare Sky could do maybe a little better, but it is limited, so slightly worse. Apostolos File is literally the biggest aura in the entire game, pretty much. But I'd say that this list is kind of accurate. Some auras are of course up to opinion or just aged kind of bad, so they've got put in a little lower. Atlas Yuletide, I've heard some people say it's not that good, but say it's not bad. It might have some of the same problems as Ruins and Symphony. It's not the worst though. And Oppression might be a little bit of a hot take. Weird that's not in God tier. It is the best aura after all. But that's it. I'm honestly surprised how much my alt account has. But to be honest, that's enough. Please like, subscribe if you guys want one of the auras in this list. If it's your dream aura. And we didn't put anything like glitch into this video just because it's not technically global. And honestly, I just gotta say good luck and goodbye.